The philosophy of Thanos is like, it's kind of like surface level. I mean, it's like, it's a little bit interesting.
The philosophy of Thanos. You mean like the fucking exterminate everyone in the world thing?
Yeah. Like to restore balance or whatever. Like, I feel like the only issue I take with it, besides the killing of everyone, is the this shit does not even really help in my phone. I feel like.
Besides the killing of everyone, is what?
Is like he did it with no principle. I mean, he did it with like the principle was just like overcrowded.
Yeah, like, it's like barely like an ideological or a personal emotional motivation.
Yeah,
like,
it's just like this bitch is too crowded, too many people.
No, I feel like ultimately like
he's like there's limited resources and there's too many of us. That's
what it is the story I think is something like my planet died for lack of resource. I think what it is just one like bitter motherfucker who literally is like wants to prove that he's right.
That's how it usually is.
Who wants to prove he's right. You know what I mean?
All supervillains that are, but like I don't really feel like
Thanos is kind of directionless. You're right. Yeah,
he doesn't.
It's like a force of nature type.
Continue on I-895 South.
So why did you bring up Thanos in Avenger Wars?
Because that I was reminded that the principle I might have chosen, I haven't put in a lot of thought into it. If I was him, if I was going to eliminate, like I would say you should at least, if you're going to eliminate half the fucking population of the universe, at least do it on a spectrum. You know, like one half of a spectrum
target
or something like that.
So like target the boring motherfuckers.
Yeah, like I would say, honestly, like one of. Like,
so we're talking eugenics right now.
If you can kill, like, if you had to kill like half the fucking world on one attribute,
what would you choose? Like
maybe
low trade
perhaps
openness?
Closeness.
Yeah, like low trade openness.
I think closeness would just be fucking like. Yeah, I mean. More openness, like less closed-minded people, like fucking. I think it would like free up a lot of shit. Like it would allow for a much more efficient like discourse, and like maybe more shit would get done because there would be less fucking people trying to like.
More people openness to new ideas.
Less inertia.
See, I actually really like. I'm not sure if I feel the exact same way still, but I used to feel like this was one of the main problems and especially in like American politics, like the perpetual state of gridlock. You just see like these boomers hemming and hawing about, oh no, we can't make this one slight minute change to like the pre-existing status quo type stuff. It's like low trade openness can be a civilizational killer if it just stagnates on itself and power gets more and more and more concentrated. You know what I mean? Like I'm with you on that. Yeah. So you think trade closedness is like one of the worst, like almost like a lack of virtue? That's almost like
objectively, for the advantage of a society.
But too much trade openness, and you get like some like degenerate like Weimar Republic, like freaking like
what's
crazy.
Weimar Republic?
Maybe that's not a good example. It was like what Hitler broke into because like Hitler broke into like this chaotic, degenerate world of basically like. Everyone was like black markets and drugs and sex and prostitution and freaking like everyone was like banging and getting all these STDs and stuff. Yeah, he wanted to like change like into this degeneracy and chaos. He comes in and he's like, I'm like big freaking daddy, authoritarian, and like people were receptive to that partially because of the like degeneracy and crumbling decadence around them.
Yeah.
So it's like too much trade openness and you can get.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right, but
maybe you're wrong. I don't know. Maybe trade openness, if it's handled responsibly. Responsibly is a good thing.
You know me. You know my core fucking belief about the universe.
Yeah.
And how things need to be in balance and shit. Like, that might be one of the few things. Remember, I've asked you before. Like, what are certain things that you can argue the middle path is like? That extreme path is almost like without. Question like objective middle path or whatever. And that's one of the few that I guess I can come up with is like openness, but like you have a point, like they're like I'm not 100% of that, obviously it's just a theory. Like part of me also believes what you just said is that like some type of balance would be necessary, maybe like the maybe like what if like just the lower quartile and then 50% of the middle two quartiles rather than 50-50, maybe in an attempt at balance. Do you understand what I
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
The lower quartile and 50% randomly of the middle too.
Yeah. You know that trait openness is like somewhat hereditary. Like there have been studies done on this. Like it's a hereditary trait. You would be like causing like this eugenic knock-on effect where everyone was more open to new experiences for generations to come.
Wow. Sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, it would be interesting, that's for sure. A lot of old codgers wouldn't be happy with you.
That's for sure.
Are you live streaming?
I am recording right now.
Establishing a following.
No, I do, and I could. It's just I want to have a product first, like something to show.
Yeah, you don't want to just fucking
Yeah.
broadcast your miserable life.
Yeah.
Best fucking
Yeah, yeah,
screenshots,
yeah.
like of
Yeah.
your fucking
Yeah.
like okay, like
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. I mean, if I had content, like that's the thing is I want to like start like doing
just
actual
being
like
your
stuff.
being funny
Yeah.
though, you know. Like,
Yeah,
like,
legit.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, legit. Dude, this is so trippy. Blame it all on you. Yeah, blame it on. Da 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 da. We're like flying through like the canyons that are on the outside of the Death Star in our X-wing, whatever X-wing fighter, whatever that shit was called.
Right.
It's an X-wing, right?
Yeah. There's an X-wing fighter, an A-wing interceptor, and a Y-wing bomber.
Yeah, TIE fighter.
You gotta
TIE
put-
fighters, there were TIE fighters, and there were like two or
the
three different
Empire.
models of TIE
That's
fighters
the
for the Empire.
Empire.
I know. The Empire had
TIE
Imperial Star,
Interceptor,
they had Star
Bomber
Destroyers,
Interceptor.
Imperial Star Destroyers, those big pyramid looking things. They had AT-AT walkers.
They had AT-ST walkers, the two-legged ones.
Yeah. Throttle.
Throttle?
Hit the gas.
No.
Smash as hard as you can into the car in front of us.
GPS signal lost.
Oh no.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh no! Ain't my fault that I haven't got a douche.
Is that what they say?
No.
Oh.
I haven't got a douche.
You never know, man.
You never know when you'll need one.
One day we'll be able to make like an anthology type situation with all of our conversations.
That'd be cool. That's one of the nicer prospects of future tech is in like the constant observation. Like the one of
Yeah.
the few upsides of our fucking complete like data
everything
of our
everything
lives.
of ours is forever cataloged. Like the
Yeah.
one good thing is, you know, it's basically an extension of our memories.
Yeah.
You know, it allows us to retain more.
Right.
It says real Christians
eventually-
obey Jesus' teachings.
Oh man, dude, let's listen to fucking Sam Harris rip on religion. That's so great.
Sam Harris just freaking destroying religion is completely counterproductive, civilizationally speaking,
Why is that?
for obvious reasons.
He's fucking okay. What?
because he
Oh yeah, I go through easy
because
tasks 'cause I don't
he
have a fucking cat.
is trying to like he has like this half-baked like biological morality BS that he's trying to push through, like after having destroyed like quote unquote like he's attempting to tear down like what has taken like tens of thousands of years to create and replace
Sorry,
it
I'm
with
not
like
listening.
some
I was thinking about something.
yeah he's trying to like
Can you
tear
go back?
down like tens of thousands of years worth of human history, the psychology, its civilizational like impetus, and replace it with like some like cobbled together freaking like silly biological morality system of trying to quantify as objective something that isn't even really like he's not helping civilization. He thinks he is because he's like one of these care harm oriented Steven Pinker ass like pussy boys, but like he really is not helping society at all. He's not making people happier. People are not happier because of Sam Harris. Like people would be happier in the terrible like
Nah, dude, but
Yeah, no, I don't
the
know.
fucking his ideas would kill off so much unhappiness. Your argument is that it would spawn new kinds.
Well, dude,
But
we
it
know
was-
that it spawns new kinds. Like, look at the society we live in right now. Like,
No, but you really, like, I honestly find your argument weak. Like,
As
it's
opposed
really,
to what?
you really assume, first of all, like, that this is anything like, you know, what he wants or whatever, you know, like, the point is
oh my God.
hold on, you know, just, like, I can fucking explain
It's
it
like,
after.
I know, no, hold on. I know that this exact status quo is not Sam Harris's ideal. I understand. This status quo is pretty much nobody's ideal.
Yeah.
But it's a compromise. But, the point is, Sam Harris's direction of hurtling us headlong towards more, like, secularism, towards this, like, you know, incredibly, like,
Keep left to
unpassionate,
stay on I-895
unmoving,
south.
like only like an autist would hear Sam Harris's like biological morality spiel and be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Or like a really
In 2
like,
miles, take
or maybe like some like
exit 4 for
deep
I-295
thinking like
Maryland
irreverent
South
type
toward
person
Baltimore,
would.
Washington,
But it's like that.
Is that
BWI
me?
Airport.
Yeah, like you are like that deep thinking, like outside the box type person. But it's like when I'm faced with something like that, I'm like, that's bleak, that's lame, like that doesn't get me going.
Yeah, but
You know, it's a-
religion does.
Yes, yeah. I mean, religion doesn't specifically get me that going because I wasn't raised. See, this is the thing, and this is why Sam Harris's world is not going to be a happy world, is because there's something like metaphysic and ontology, basically. Like, what is the world? Like, what is the world and your relation to the world as you understand it? What is the world you inhabit? By what rules does it work? What is the meaning of life? Like, those things cannot be adequately provided for by Sam Harris's solutions. Sam Harris, which are like a bunch of like,
You honestly have no idea. I mean, like, you think about it, you could easily be...
no, we haven't tried it. You're right.
No, yeah, I mean, not only... Yeah, basically that's what I'm about to say. Is like, you could easily be some other fucker from, 2,000 years ago who's like, oh, we'll never fucking know how, like, human... Like, why people come out... Like, what mixture of of two parents makes this kid, you know what I mean? But now we can fucking sequence the genome, you just don't know what we don't know. Like, that
Yeah, but we can't scientize
the problem,
everything.
No, yeah, but the problem with religion is how much it's fucking destroying and holding, like, discourse back.
Well, like what
having
discourse is
all-
religion holding
In
back?
half a mile,
What
take
discourse?
exit 4 for
Fucking, I'll let
I-295
you- I'll
Maryland
let him
South toward
fucking read it
Baltimore,
to you,
Washington
like,
Parkway,
I'm
BWI.
never gonna be able
Airport.
to say it as
Like
well as he
literally,
is.
like the top brains in the world right now are mostly working on like the top technology. You know,
We started
they're
today a series entitled End of Faith Sessions.
Take exit 4.
God, these like annoying voices interspersed together. It's like Sam Harris on 2x speed and the GPS woman. It's like my fucking cup of tea.
4 miles.
It is low key.
All right,
cup
play.
of tea, though,
Okay,
kind
go
of.
next.
It is in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
because this is the kind of shit.
Yeah, I know, like clucky shit where it's like lots of different input sources, like all going on full blast at
Yeah.
once. Like yes, but like okay, play. Okay, just go to the part where Sam Harris.
Skipping.
The young man smiles. With the press of a button, he destroys himself, the couple at his side, and 20
Oh my.
This is the beginning of his book that he wrote literally 12 years before
The
reading
End of
this.
Faith, yeah.
So he's just saying, like, he's
fucking general, like
he's
generic
gonna
Islamophobic bullshit.
He's gonna put
Yeah.
caveats in it, and
Yeah,
it's not Islamophobic.
I know it's not Islamophobic. It's just silly. It's fucking silly. Like whine about Islam, dude. Islam probably has created more than like the freaking like atheist circle jerk has, like for civilization. Like in terms of like nice things, people's lives having meaning. You know, that dude
No,
blowing
that's just
himself
not
up.
true.
That dude blowing him. No, can I explain like
There's
that?
single zip codes
Sam
in
Harris,
New York.
Sam Harris, as much as he wants to deny it, he will die scared, lonely, and miserable, knowing that everything will fade to black. Meanwhile, that jihadist who blew himself up, like smiling,
Yeah.
like is having an awesome time. He's like, "Fuck yeah!"
Stupidly, like wrongly.
No,
like,
not wrong. Who cares
Yes.
if it's wrongly or rightly?
That's that. I know. I get it. I get that. That's your argument.
Yeah.
I get, but like, it's fucking. It's like it's so pessimistic of humans. Like it's like it's like as bleak as it gets. Like I feel like of being like, oh, like we're doomed to always have to fucking lie to ourselves about shit in order to fucking find happiness. Like that's fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, it's not a question of lie to ourselves. We create our own spiritual realities through our beliefs, sort of. Like
Yeah,
what
but
is
that-
to
all
say
that
what
is
is reality and what
unnecessary.
isn't. Like reality is one giant like collective shared hallucination, basically,
Right.
right? So it's like, who's to say that we can't bring like thought, like these sort of thought forms almost into like quasi-physical being? I mean, God was
Well,
God walked among us because we let him.
Because we fucking
We made God, you freaking edgelord, dude.
It's not like it. Are you kidding me? We made you so Zeus was real. Like you think that the fucking Abrahamic God is
Okay,
like
even if literally Zeus wasn't real, the point is that it's like
no, but like
what do you call it? It's
what
a
is
force. It's a
what is
category.
your point in laughing about we made him? Like every single deity.
No,
fucking,
it's
all
because
man-made, dude. We all
no, it's not all man-made. These are freaking
It's all fantasy.
no, these are human attempts to categorize like the sublime and the uncategorizable, which has been
Yeah,
like
you're giving
yeah.
2,000-year-old fucking ignorant assholes way too much credit.
Do you think that we are that much smarter than them?
Dude, we're not so much.
We have more
smarter than
information,
them.
I guess.
We're so
like,
much less ignorant about the realities of the world.
the realities of the world, dude.
That's facts.
Okay, if we're so much
Why
more
you
ignorant
roll
about
your eyes about
no, but
that?
it's like if we're so ignorant about the realities of the world now, then how come people are like arguably just as fucking miserable? Like we haven't.
That's not true. We're doing so much better.
I do not
all
think the
time.
human
Like,
condition is progress.
That's
I do
because
not
yours
think
sucks and you're a depressed
Keep left to
pussy.
stay on
No,
the
that's
road
not. No, I mean
south.
no, because that's not. It's not just me. It's like I know people who
Yeah,
have
I know,
who have good
everybody is.
lives, but they're like
Yeah.
everyone's a depressed pussy.
Yeah.
Everyone's grinding
Yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
No one's happy.
Yeah, no
it's
shit.
like
But this is a past 50 years development. Like you can't say that like the fucking
Keep left
100
to
years
stay on
ago wasn't better than
295
like
south.
800 years ago. Fucking,
better and worse in different
in
ways.
happiness ways.
No, in happiness ways, I don't think.
in fulfillment, and like how much like yes, like without a doubt, like fucking look. And
You've talked to Greatest Generation people, right?
yeah, I mean
They have a completely different like Weltanschauung. Like their perception of reality is like completely, it's almost like a kind of like a set stable actor. Like this is their hero's journey. I do
Yeah.
not think that is true for your generation or my generation. I think that
Not
we
that they're
are
even
all
that separate,
millennial like
You know.
younger millennials and older Gen Z, but it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
In fact, that's an interesting realization. Is that like due to internet, the changes in generation will be actually way starker
faster.
year to year.
Yeah, pretty much. And internet culture and how fast the pace of like internet waves of internet
Shit
culture
changes,
and
yeah.
and the proliferation of like
Right, like people in the
stuff through
80s
yeah.
like all grew up with the exact same shit, but now like generations are gonna get like in a 2-year chunk.
Yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
it'll be an increasingly fine spectrum.
Yeah.
All right, but that was a little interesting tangent.
But what you were saying before about what is it? Like I guess what I was just saying is like we've gained some things, like we've gained what you call like okay, we're less ignorant now when it comes to our ability to make an airplane or extend our lives much longer.
Yeah, or fucking not have to like deal with torturous diseases.
Penicillin, shit like that. Like totally, no doubt, we've accrued so much cool.
White ball technologies, arguably. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For a second, I forgot about your little white ball, black ball thing, and I thought like white ball technologies is like some company you're starting up. White balls technologies.
Yeah.
Like the white ball and the black ball.
No, they're all white and gray. Black
No.
we haven't found a
But
black
I'm
ball.
saying that's what you're referencing is the white ball. Who said that?
Nick Bostrom.
Nick Bostrom. Okay.
But it's the point is that there hasn't been a black ball, or else we wouldn't fucking be here.
Black
yet.
balls. All right. Well, there's lots of blue balls.
There's lots of gray ones.
Lots of gray balls, lots of blue balls.
Yeah,
I think that
increasing numbers of blue balls exponentially, which just speaks to the issue. That's just a symptom of the issue you're describing of like people, like society sucking harder.
Yeah, exactly.
In the past
exactly. More blue
80
balls.
years,
Yeah.
like,
I think that no, but I do think we've gained stuff, but we've lost stuff, and part of what we've lost, I think, over the course of many thousands of years, is our ability to freaking coexist well with our planet without destroying it.
Yeah.
Our ability to lead.
but that's the thing.
Wait. Our ability to lead meaningful lives without having to try at it. Our lives used to be, in my perception, imbued with meaning. Like we had our metaphysic, our ontology, our direction. Like this was socialized into us. This was like given to us, and now it's like we almost view it as like a good thing to be like this Nietzschean Übermensch of nothing means anything, man. So make your own meaning, as if this is some blessing. But in reality, that's like saddling people with a huge amount of existential debt.
No
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
no doubt.
it's like you're gonna have to freaking think about that for the rest of your life.
I feel you.
So what we've gained
But
is
we
very
can get that
obvious.
back, though.
What we've gained is very obvious.
think-
Like technology, like it's gonna have to look different, won't it?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I really think that a complete, like, smart people can solve this problem. Let me just finish, because it's like there's an easy, like, if you were to look in the I'm just saying, to reform all of these systems that we currently employ in a way that if we were actually trying to prepare kids, like, instead of changing the goal of education from just like, filling these kids' brains with like general knowledge and shit like that, to actually try and have like a scientific approach as like
specializing
and like intelligent and targeted way of fucking readying people for adult life.
Yeah.
And not just about fucking...
No, I agree. Teach them about like finance, teach them about work ethic.
What I was about to interrupt you and say,
yeah.
when you stopped me from interrupting you, is that I think throughout time, to a varying degree, we've done a terrible fucking job at... Humanity has done a terrible job.
Can I have your pen, Clarky?
Humanity's done a terrible job at passing down wisdom and passing down like shit that older generations figured out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. We've done a bad job of passing down past information. I think we've done a good job of passing down like the technical, like the material information, the scientific stuff, but not the ways and the customs.
Exactly. That was not even ways and customs, micro, like macro. I'm talking like fucking, like intuitive things that like only experienced people like learn from the world, like real wisdom, like real existential wisdom. You know what I mean?
Because that stuff is passed down generationally, and what's
poorly
funny?
though. Not like it's not really deeply inseminated.
For thousands and thousands of years, our ancestors would have had like a person in our tribe, and that person's job was the keeper of the information. And before it was written language, they would literally like be the poet or the bard or whatever.
I know.
And they would pass it down, and it's like there's no equivalent of that today. It's just sort of like this mass media that exists with the intention of creating money, not necessarily passing down. Like any passed down like archetypal or cultural stuff, it's purely like subconscious. It's like carryover. That's not usually the intention,
Right. And I think we need to be more intentional and intelligent about like how we prepare our next generations and shit. And I mean, we could just do such a better job, like, and this goes back to that problem of that you're talking about these fucking closed-minded curmudgeons in politics that that aren't trying to make the like big swing changes that can make things fucking work again.
You think you're going to become more closed as you grow up? More closed-minded?
I mean, for the most part, most people do. Unless you're extremely closed-minded and something crazy happens to you, like, then you open up. Like, most people end up being more closed-minded.
It's like, I used to be racist, and then I talked to a black person for the first time.
I think I'm more, but by the virtue of my, analysis and metacognition, I think that I'll be able to recognize when I am, and therefore, correct along the way. You hear what I said? I'll be able to tell, like, when I'm being that old guy who, like, hates this song because it's what the kid is, that I won't become that. And I think it'll end up being... That'll be insane.
On the street with the surrounding cars. All has gone according to plan. The young man's parents soon learned of his fate. Although sadly...
He's talking about a kid smiling after, like you said, being happy and killing himself in jihad, and his parents being proud of him.
His behavior. Was he popular in school? Was he rich or was he poor? Was he low or high intelligence? His actions leave no clue at all. Did he have a college education? Did he have a bright future as a mechanical engineer? His behavior is simply mute on questions of this sort, and hundreds like them. Why is it so easy then? So trivially easy. You could almost bet your life on it easy to guess the young man's religion. Okay, so that's how I started.
Yeah, he's a Muslim. We get it.
This opening has been quite controversial for reasons
the point
that make no
is
sense.
like, all religion sucks, but like right now,
Islam is the most like shitty in that way of like people walking around blowing themselves up and shit.
Yeah, like it's kind of like the biggest problem religion is generating right now. Like,
yeah, well, the thing is, Islam is at like a certain. The reason why I think Islam is so like loathed and detested is because we live in like this post-enlightenment, like quote unquote,
but
like
that's not
like
even
liberal kind of like Whiggish world,
it would be
and very like anti multi-care
We
harm.
would be very
Sorry.
fine and tolerant of it if they weren't blowing
No, it's
people
no,
up.
wait. I was saying it's a multifaceted thing. I was saying one, like Islam is reactionary, and we live in like a progressive, Whiggish, post-Enlightenment age. Islam is kind of like many ways kind of proto-Enlightenment. Still has one foot firmly before the Enlightenment at the very least. Then at the same time, I would say that the other thing that makes Islam detestable is, because there are sects of Judaism that are like pre-Enlightenment. There are sects of other Hinduism and whatnot, and Buddhism that are very like traditional and radical in that sense. But the thing about Islam that makes it unique is its expansionism and the kind of fraught relationship between like the Islamic world writ large
GPS
and the
signal
West.
lost.
Specifically right now, there's just been a lot of stuff going on and a lot of humiliation and anger and resentment and just mutual bullshitting and lack of understanding, combined with the fact that Islam is in many ways like inherently kind of like an expansionist, colonialist, zero-sum.
Right.
Islam is a zero-sum religion. It's like kind of like Christianity, except Christianity is peaceful.
Yeah, it's been post-Enlightenment more like.
Yeah. Even pre-Enlightenment Christianity was a peaceful religion because it's all relatively I mean, in principle,
But
the Crusaders were technically like following the Pope, but it's like that isn't the spirit of Christianity.
But it does say in the
really.
Bible, like in places to
That Jesus will come with a sword and stuff.
No, like to kill people who try and fucking sway you from the way of the Lord.
Really?
Yeah.
Kill people who.
He reads it in this fucking.
Oh wow.
thing.
Okay.
The
All right.
people
Go ahead.
who object to this beginning, which is a fictionalized account in its details. I'm merely imagining what a prototypical suicide bomber on a bus might be like. Many have objected that there's something unrealistic about this, or that these kinds of events don't happen. This is a falsehood to put this forward as somehow indicative of the kind of thing that is happening in our world, that has been happening for decades. Well, that claim is simply false. This is a prototypical case for a reason. The details I've given here, apart from the fictionalized couple shopping for a refrigerator, are well attested to. This is precisely the sort of thing that Muslim suicide bombers have done and continue to do. And I believe that every detail here is factual, including the penultimate gesture of smiling at the victims. And that is also well attested to by those who have survived suicide attacks. And while there are others who have committed suicide bombings, and for quite some time the Tamil Tigers were the most prolific suicide bombers, it was the case when I wrote this, and it is even more true now, that when you hear about a suicide bombing, there's one thing you can be virtually certain of, and that is that it was carried out by a believer in Islam, someone who believes in paradise, someone who believes that he was going to paradise because of his martyrdom, someone who believed that he was sending infidels to hell where they will burn for eternity.
Like, it's
someone who was in
specific
touch with a
ideas like
community of people
paradise
who believe the
and
same
shit that,
things.
like-
That's not to say that a non-Muslim suicide
Yeah, it's
bomber
a
is
specific,
impossible,
like
but you can know
the-
these
like,
things
There's a
about
perfect
people.
storm of there's a perfect storm right now of technological world, like socioeconomic, political factors combined with factors of the culture and zeitgeist and literal texts and history of the Islamic religion that make that a perfect storm to make that the case, basically.
Yeah, but even before that, the fact goes on to make this point that what you believe will happen in the afterlife hugely influences how you live your life, and it's taking away from.
I agree, and I think
people,
I agree, and I think it also hugely impacts how much you enjoy your life. I think that this person probably has much more gratification and fulfillment in their actions than some hollow
but they're also
materialist
probably-
atheist from New York who believes everything goes black when they die, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So might as well just have fun, dude.
But the the liberals would argue the opposite of what Sam Harris is saying. Hard leftists would be
GPS signal
this is
lost.
not a source of religion.
What are they saying? It's a political thing.
Yeah,
they say it comes from
it's a
Western colonial
socioeconomic
oppression,
thing, yeah.
and it's because Muslims are oppressed and yada yada. No, clearly, Islam is unique in this regard. Islam is a religion that's inherently kind of this expansionist kind of type thing. Thanks
to the Quran, which was written by fucking
the Quran and the Hadith.
Fucking dickheads, basically, ignorant dickheads,
Whoa, dude. Ignorant dickheads? You think plural?
Ignorant
You think there were
sand
multiple
people.
authors? You think there were multiple authors?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in a sense, I think that it's.
Wait, who was supposed to have written the Quran? Muhammad? Wasn't he illiterate?
God.
Oh, God wrote the Quran?
Allah and God, dictated these books to.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Islam uniquely believes that the Quran is infallible. I think that's
even the Bible.
The Christians don't think the Bible is infallible. Christians know the Bible was written by a bunch of different people, and it was secondhand accounts and stuff.
Not
I
a
think
lot of them.
the Quran is raised to a
There's
higher level.
always that's the thing. He goes on to make this point about the problem with literals and the problem with moderates, religious, like the big fundamentalists who read the books exactly for what they are, and then the issue with the controversial issue he takes
with moderates,
with
people
moderates, like people enabling that shit, like and saying like it's not inherently wrong to fucking like stone people to death or whatever, like, or some shit, like.
Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Do you think it's inherently wrong to stone people to death?
I think if your goal, depending on, like, all of this shit everything depends on the lens or function in which, like, in the eyes of the universe, nothing is right or wrong, but I think that in the eyes of like, in the experience of humans, yes, there's right or wrong, like, I mean, or better or worse, and Sam Harris doesn't think that there is one better, you know what I mean? It's like, there are many points along a continuum of which you have like more ideal and less ideal realities for humans.
Yeah.
And we've been on a general trend towards more ideal. But
that's why, because he has a care harm morality, and I think this is why. Have you heard his talk with Jonathan Haidt? I think he has like two of them.
I just heard one of them.
Where he talks about morality?
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Haidt is correct and Sam Harris is incorrect.
Well, maybe I don't know the talk.
I haven't seen that. Like, Sam Harris has hundreds of these things. I've only seen like a few dozen. Like, I've only watched like, I'd say like maybe like a few days worth of Sam Harris content total. Like, not that much overall, but it's like.
Yeah, well, him and Jonathan Haidt had an interesting conversation where they, overlapped in a lot of ways on morality.
Sam Harris is an anti-civilizational force.
That's just not true. It's just so not true. Like,
dude, Sam Harris is going to create a world where people Sam Harris is going to create a world where people want to hang themselves every day, dude.
First of all, if you're actually being honest as to like the scope of his message,
I'm joking around.
I know, but if you're actually being honest to the scope of his message, there's fucking like 80% of which you would agree is like fucking like aligning, like you would align with, like so much about fucking like safety and like the like intellectual honesty and like shit about
what, hallucinogens?
Yeah. Like,
what did you say about safety? Like, I'm anti-safety. Sam Harris is probably pro-safety.
Not to like, roughly, but like not to the like expected liberal level.
Okay, yeah. Like you said he had a nuanced stance on guns. You said he had a nuanced stance on like firearms and stuff.
And a million other things. Like and it's mainly intellectually, like his main thing is intellectual honesty and reasonable discourse. That is his entire that's his general platform, and religion is just such a fucking bad example. It's just the biggest enemy towards fucking reasonable discourse and intellectual honesty. Like, it's a huge fucking obstacle to that. But your argument is basically that like we're better off being blissfully ignorant, like naive children who don't like need to think about these things because it's just going to stress us out.
That's a very uncharitable framing.
It is, but like, dude, a stretch.
It's just we know materialism is a lie.
True. I mean, I understand that. Like he fucking acknowledges like the illusoriness of fucking reality.
How do you know that like
consciousness?
Yeah, how do you know that like this
shit?
color yellow is the same color yellow that I'm seeing?
Right, I understand. Yeah.
Totally. Like, yeah.
But we do understand that certain wavelengths in which are like we can now measure things through computers, which
like all these quote unquote miracles, like all this supernatural stuff, like, and then there wasn't. Like, what do you think is the explanation for that? Because it's hard to dismiss. It's hard to dismiss millions and millions and millions of accounts of stuff that like defies a lot of the current like laws of the like material universe as we know it.
Okay, such as like what's the most common kind of thing?
Pardon me. Like, literally, what do you think?
I don't know, but I'd rather touch on
everything.
This later. I'd rather touch on this later.
No, but you know what I mean though. Like, literally, like.
Yeah, but a lot of it. Yeah, I mean, so much
like
of it
every
is
spiritual
easy.
belief. Like,
so
where
much
did
of it
these
is
things
easily
come? Where did these things come from?
Like a lot of bullshit that people say happened is just fucking typical human hyperbole, like myth shit. Like that's.
Yeah, but why was there even an incentive to pass on the myth? Like, for instance,
because it's fun.
Because it's fun.
Because it's interesting.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that shit is fun. It's like you're making up your own goddamn. It's like passing on tall tales. It's like part of human culture to like exaggerate stories.
Paul
and shit,
Bunyan.
Yeah, you fucking.
Paul Bunyan.
Right.
And who's the other guy who was like had a blue ox named Babe? Is that Paul Bunyan?
Oh yeah, no, I think that's that. That's fucking
Other shit,
like
Johnny Appleseed.
Johnny Appleseed, David and
Dude,
Goliath,
you're like
I guess.
some Johnny Appleseed.
Face ass.
Dude, I used to know someone
Daniel
named Johnny
Boone is
Appleseed.
like real
They were a
life
good
people
soul.
like that,
God
tall
rest them.
tales. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
The great American frontiersman that shit is based off of.
Dude, look at that boat just driving around.
In fact, that's what one of those tall tales was based off of. Either Davy Crockett or Daniel Boone. You know about both of them, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. Anyways.
Play your
About any suicide bomber today with a high order of confidence.
Any suicide
That is a claim
bomber
about which I
today,
think no
here's
honest person
little
can pretend to be
okay.
innocent at this moment in history. If you tell me that an airplane has been hijacked, or that a pilot of a plane
Ben Stiller.
has intentionally flown it into a building or into the ground, killing himself and everyone else on board, and you stipulate that this person was not mentally ill or suicidally depressed, as has happened on occasion, I can tell you what you will hear on the black box if that black box gets recovered. I can tell you the pilot's or hijackers' last words.
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu
You get it.
Akbar!
The security of the law is only decent to acknowledge. So if you're one of those people who think I have
Allahu
against Islam
Akbar!
by providing this generic example,
That's
of
what
suicide
they're
bombing,
thinking.
If you're quite clear, if you came to believe one of the following propositions: 1, you have only 2 weeks to live. 2, you just won a lottery prize of $100 million. 3, aliens have implanted a receiver in your skull and are manipulating your thoughts. These are mere words until you believe them. Once believed, they become part of the very apparatus of your mind, determining your desires, fears, expectations, and subsequent behavior. There seems, however, to be a problem with some of our most cherished beliefs about the world. They are leading us
dude.
inexorably to kill one
Oh,
another.
I can't feel
glance
the
at history or
alien
the pages of any
implant
newspaper
out of
reveals
my
that ideas
head.
which
I can't
divide
get
one
rid
group
of
of human
it
beings from
now.
another, only to unite them in
Feel
slaughter,
it.
generally have their roots in religion. Now here I should say, I think the word generally here is inaccurate. I should have said often have their roots in religion. I don't think most wars have been religious in origin. A significant subset have been. And certainly when societies break down along tribal lines, breaking down along confessional lines into religious camps is a very common phenomenon. And this is not to say that people are motivated by theology in their subsequent conflict, but they're motivated by religious tribalism. But I wouldn't say that most wars have been religious, though I think some of the scariest divisions in our world now are explicitly religious. Back to the text. It seems that if our species ever eradicates itself through war, it will not be because it was written in the stars, but because it was written in our books. It is what we do with
It'll
words
be
like God and
Muslims,
paradise and sin
right?
and present that will determine our future.
Obviously, they'll be
Our situation is this.
Muslim, not just-
Most of the people in this world believe that the creator of the universe has written a book. We have the misfortune of having many such books on hand, each making an exclusive claim as to its infallibility. People tend to organize themselves into factions according to which of these incompatible claims they accept, rather than on the basis of language, skin color, location of birth, or any other criterion of tribalism. Each of these texts urges its readers to adopt a variety of beliefs and practices, some of which are benign, many of which are not. All are in perverse agreement on one point of fundamental importance, however. Quote, respect for other faiths, or for the views of unbelievers, is not an attitude that God endorses. While all faiths have been touched here and there by the spirit of ecumenicalism, the central tenet of every religious tradition is that all others are mere repositories of error, or at best, dangerously incomplete. Intolerance is thus intrinsic to every creed. Once a person believes, really believes, that certain ideas can lead to eternal happiness, or to its antithesis, he cannot tolerate the possibility that the people he loves might be led astray by the blandishments of unbelievers. Certainty about the next life is simply incompatible with tolerance in this one. And I certainly stand by this claim. I'm sure I'll revisit this at some point in the book, but just imagine what it would be like. Some of you might in fact know what it's like. To be certain that the difference between spending eternity in heaven or eternity in hell turns on whether you believe the right things about a book or about the origin of the universe. Now, many people pretend to believe these things, or believe it to some degree, but if you are certain of this, if you are certain that someone with the wrong ideas, by persuading your child to doubt the truth of your religion, has thereby prepared an eternity of suffering for the person you care about most in this world, well, if anything is intolerable, that is worse than your neighbor kidnapping your child and torturing him or her in his basement for a decade, right? We're talking about an eternity of hellfire. That is the worst possible fate. And what many people lose sight of is that some people really believe that this fate awaits you if you think the wrong things about the origin of a book, or about the invisible being who is imagined to have dictated it. And it's only insofar as people are uncertain about these claims. It's only insofar as they doubt these doctrines.
Why
that they
though?
otherwise-
Why are you such a why are
The
you so
invisible
sensitive?
being. No, I'm not sensitive. He's just so fucking pompous. You hear his smug little Jewy tone with his Ben Stiller.
Yeah,
Ben Stiller
you
looking
can
ass.
fucking like that's the thing. Like I the reason why I don't like I hear it. Like I get
just-
what you're playing at, but the reason why I don't fucking that type of shit doesn't bother me is because it's not fair. Like it's not fair because I wouldn't want
It's
that.
pure ad hominem. Yes.
I wouldn't want that done to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
no.
fucking,
It's pure ad hominem.
What's that mean exactly?
Like
Like your perception.
Yeah, no, it's just freaking like basing saying invalidating what they're saying by attacking personal attributes. I don't even know if that is what ad hominem means, but it's like that's not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, next, keep going.
pay lip service to, that they are capable of behaving themselves in a condition of epistemological pluralism, in a condition of rival truth claims, in a condition where teachers and camp counselors and new friends may lead their children to doubt the truth of their religion. Otherwise, the need to resort to violence is absolutely imperative. What would you do if you knew someone was about to inflict an eternity of misery on your child? You would do whatever it took to stop them. And if you couldn't pass the requisite laws, you would become a law unto yourself. This leaves aside, of course, the curious morality of a God who would do such a thing. God, the omniscient sociopath, who has rigged the game this way, who has condemned to eternal torment people who, by mere accident of birth, by the sheer fact that they have the wrong nouns and verbs in their heads, they will spend eternity being tortured. That is the source.
How do they?
On offer in Abraham's
Yeah,
religion.
do you know what the
For that
eternal
more later.
torture is?
In closing,
They
I'll say that
strapped
we're seeing more and
them. They strapped them into a basement and make them listen to Sam Harris podcast on 2x speed for an hour. Keep playing that.
seeing more and more, especially in the Muslim world, are the antisocial consequences of religious certainty. We see what should otherwise be an unthinkable psychological reality. We see well-educated people with other opportunities, often with families, willing to blow themselves up and going to their deaths in a spirit of jubilation. Watch some of these videos. See the smiles on the faces of people who are about to blow themselves up. Nothing in your life.
They're
has
way
made me this
happier than
enthusiastic
you'll ever
in
be,
recent
Sam.
memory. And this, once again, is the power of, you might call it the power of brainwashing. If you think that these people are on some level victims
We're
of
definitely going
propaganda.
to dig
Fine.
into this later about your
Keep-
thing against safety.
Keep
We
going.
got to
keep
get
going.
into
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But to doubt that they believe what they say they believe makes absolutely no sense in these cases. Back to the book. Observations of this sort pose an immediate problem for us, however, because criticizing a person's faith is currently taboo in every corner of our culture. On this subject, liberals and conservatives have reached a rare consensus. Religious beliefs are simply beyond the scope of rational discourse.
Speed up.
Criticizing a person's ideas about God and the afterlife is thought to be impolitic in a way that criticizing his ideas about physics or history is not. And so it is that when a Muslim suicide
Facts,
bomber obliterates
though,
himself
right?
along with a
That's
score of innocents
true.
on a Jerusalem street, the role that his faith played in his actions is invariably
Sorry, can you
distinct.
replay the
His
last
motives must have been
little
political,
bit
economic, or entirely personal. It is about
I was
whether people
distracted
believe
by
what they
the
say they
fantasy
believe.
of
Makes
ramming into
absolutely no
that
sense
fucking
in these
Toyota
cases.
in front of us
Back
at
to the
full
book.
speed.
Observations of this sort pose an immediate problem for us, however, because criticizing a person's faith is currently taboo in every corner of our culture. On this
Yeah,
subject, liberals and
what's
conservatives
up
have reached a
with
rare consensus. Religious beliefs are simply beyond the scope of rational discourse. Criticizing a person's ideas about God and the afterlife is thought to be impolitic in a way that criticizing his ideas about physics or history is not. And so it is that when a Muslim suicide bomber obliterates himself along with a score of innocents on a Jerusalem street, the role that his faith played in his actions is invariably
Stop.
discounted. His motive.
It's because most people are polite and don't like invalidating other people's metaphysics like on a regular basis. Like
Right.
most people are polite. Second of all, the quote unquote liberals that Sam Harris is talking about, these are people who, they support religion because it's kind of like this universalist, like or laissez-faire type attitude of like everyone can do their own thing type vibe. And then conservative or reactionary people who support religion, they support religion because it's basically like don't touch these old things. Don't stop dismantling. Stop dismantling and undermining like these traditions basically.
Right.
So you have those two things, and yeah, while they do like come to that consensus, I think although sometimes they come from the same place, like especially in America, because both the quote left and the quote right in America, like as they roughly group up, like they both have like a kind of a rough gist towards like laissez-fairness,
Christianity.
because that's like America. Like they have like they're kind of, and just generally God, because America like my God, freedom of religion and stuff. But it's like, yeah, I see what they're getting at here.
There's not, you can free to do what you want, but you shouldn't be like, yeah, I mean, this, like, that whole thing, I just can't even, like, politeness, like, for this, politeness is not what we, like, fucking need, like.
Really? I think we need much more politeness.
We need
Society
more.
suffers from a lack of politeness.
Yeah, but not in when it gets like when we get down to business, like when it's fucking all like fun and games, like sure, but like not when we get down to important matters. Like politeness can't be fucking restricting like
What important matters are there right now?
fucking like civilizational fucking matters. Like
Dude, what are you
we can't be
talking
too
about?
like if we can't be too polite that we're worried about talking about religion. If it's growing into a cancer of fucking
Cancer,
ignorance.
this fucking
If
atheistic rhetoric.
in theory,
I know. It's just like
I'm not saying it
dude.
necessarily does, even though I believe
That's
that,
like
but,
some shit Sam Harris would say right there. Describe religion as a
No,
cancer.
yeah,
because he's
but-
an edgelord.
No, oh my God! Stop
Sorry, go
getting
ahead.
caught up in the framing and words.
Sorry,
like,
just
it's
the rhetoric
facts,
is
though.
absurd. These
Like,
people are
stop
babies.
Diluting yourself. Like it's not even a stretch though. It's like not even like I'm saying if religion gets bad, because you at least admit it could get bad.
Yeah, of course, sure.
So like that shouldn't be protected by politeness, by manners. So
Yeah, I mean, it can get bad by like any moral metrics, like any honestly, like religions can like reasonably to a certain extent like can be warped to be like a vehicle of any like type of like ideological current or whatever, like etc.
Yeah, and all types of fucking manipulation and fucking
Like so, like yeah, like the same
propaganda.
religion, like even like if you look at it like different moral axioms, like the sort of like height like moral matrices thing or whatever. It's like a religion that could have like a a pro in group value in one point in time can have a pro out group value at another point in time, and at a certain point like inevitably like someone will inevitably could say like, oh, this religion has bad values now. So yeah, sure, religion can like quote unquote get bad matter here. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Where are we right now?
My mom used to live in there.
Oh, okay.
We're in Capitol Hill.
Oh, cool. So,
We're home.
so what were you saying? Yo, is that a fucking giant mansion or is that like a library?
Church.
Okay. Is that a giant mansion? Like Jewish mom.
Fucking.
Okay, what's the move?
His motives must have been political, economic, or entirely personal. Without
Scared
faith,
the
desperate
shit
people
out
still
of
do
me,
terrible things.
dude.
Faith itself is always and everywhere exonerated. But technology has a way of creating fresh moral imperatives. Our technical advances in the art of war have finally rendered our religious differences, and hence our religious beliefs, antithetical to our survival. We can no longer ignore the fact that billions of our neighbors believe in the metaphysics of martyrdom, or in the literal truth of the Book of Revelation, or
Yeah,
any of the other
that's
fantastical
true. Like,
notions that have lurked in
it
the
used
minds
to
of the
be
faithful for
okay,
millennia.
but now, like,
What is this? Sorry.
through this kid, I see him all the fucking time. Like, I see him
Such a
all the
cartoon
fucking
character.
time.
He looks like a Steven Universe character.
Yeah,
dude.
you know, and he's
Okay,
such
yeah.
a fucking little
Yeah.
nerd, but he looked happy there, and like he looks like he's doing better, so I'm happy for him.
Dude, what? Was he like fucking shooting up before the last time
No,
you
he
saw him or
just
some
looked
shit?
like the type of
Like-
kid that would be shooting up a school.
He got his head up, his headphones in.
Yeah, he's
prancing around.
smiling, actually,
Dude, he
like-
needs to get some action, dude, so he can like
Yeah.
affirm himself mentally, so he doesn't become an incel. You know.
Yeah.
He won't
It's
though,
true.
because he's like the shorter, like chubby kid who grows up like at a slower rate. Probably his classmates. There's already a dude who like probably looks like you already. Like going to
was
the same
late,
school, you know.
as well.
No,
I
but I mean,
look
looks like you do
fucking
now.
me.
Like, there's probably like
I
a
get
grown,
it, yeah.
probably one of his classmates looking like a grown ass man.
Right.
He's like the little kid. He can't even grow his beard in. You know.
Yeah, neither can I.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's like some just like he's that kid.
Anyways,
He wears a fedora.
before the
He wears a
kid-
fedora and he likes the Joker.
Yeah,
and
before
we
the
live in a
kid.
society type shit.
Yeah.
Before the kid, Sam Harris,
What were we talking about? there?
martyrdom.
Thieves, antithetical to our survival. We can no longer.
Yeah, it gets worse with the fact that fucking technology is going to, you know, the faster technology develops, we're gonna get forced into decisions. We're gonna get forced into making hard ethical decisions, and like actually, like that's his point, is that like we're going to have to, like we have no choice, or else we will die.
Yeah.
Like,
For instance, do I want to get super robotic weaponry implanted in one of my arms? That's a
Yeah.
hard decision.
type shit, or like should we enable drones, drone robot armies? Like, because think about it if those fucking
Drone robot armies. That's
Yeah.
a great idea. Nothing could go wrong with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to think of all the lives we could save. Da da da. You know, type shit. Yeah. Dude, that's a good pitch.
No,
you know?
Spider-Man. Remember, like
Yeah,
the drones making the thing.
Dude. Yeah.
Like, imagine if those were weaponized on a
Yeah.
massive
I know,
scale.
right? Yeah.
They could just
That'd be
kill
crazy.
everything so efficiently.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it would be like a super targeted. Oh, look, gay guys, homosexuals. Let me turn around. I don't want to. I can't park back here.
Dude, is this whole thing your property? Like this whole
Yes.
fiefdom?
Yes, this whole
Damn,
back
dude.
fucking part and that whole.
Would it be possible for you to like build on top of
Stay
the?
here for a bit.
You're literally gonna lie in the back of a. Okay, enjoy. You know, suit yourself. I like it looks comfortable back there. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'll switch my seat forwards even. All right.
God. Yeah, like with fucking nuke, like the easier it gets to make nukes, the more and more like pressure will be under to actually fucking be decisive. You know, like we're gonna be forced into a greater or lesser evil situation. You know, like kill all the Muslims or.
Yeah, Sam Harris would love that decision to come to a head. I feel.
No, it's not kill
Dude.
all the Muslims. It's kill all the jihadists and Islam. Islamists.
That's what they say. Yeah.
No, come on.
Sam Harris would love to.
Yes, like you
Sam
can-
Harris wants to mow down Muslims, dude. He wants to do it himself.
That's why he fucking
He'd get
trains
that.
with
He'd
guns
get out
and
there.
in jujitsu.
Yeah, dude. He'd get out there in the front lines himself, dude.
Closet,
Sam Harris.
closet, right?
It would be like Inglorious Bastards with Sam
Closet
Harris.
Republican.
Inglorious Bastards, basically
Inglorious-
type shit. But Sam Harris is scalping
Inglorious
Muslims.
kikes.
So, yes. Sam Harris is scalping Muslims.
Fucking finally,
Yeah.
like
this is for the Jews that you killed in the
Yeah, I know, I
in
was
the
gonna say,
700s.
like
Muhammad-
finally revenge,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
his secret agenda to fucking. I bet I'm 3,000% sure that's a meme on like 8chan or 4chan.
This is a
like,
revenge for
like,
all the Jews you
Sam-
kept as dhimmis in the
everything-
Ottoman Empire.
Everything Sam Harris says is a part of his fucking
dude.
anti-Islam
Dude, Sam-
agenda
dude,
that he wants to kill them all.
Can we
like,
meme that like Ben Garrison type shit? Like meme it
Who's
so
Ben
like
Garrison?
like this guy who was like a
Black guy?
libertarian who got memed to an extreme. Dude, that guy is literally like riding one up there, like right there, parking that shit.
Yo.
Let's fucking get it.
Let's kill him.
We can. No. Oh no, he's going away. Yeah. What, like just kill him and steal it from him, and then we.
No, dude, he's brown. No.
Get out of here, you both smell like assholes.
Okay.
Says
fuck
you.
Fucking fat, fucking stink fucks.
Says you. How do you know it isn't you who's been just passing gas the entire car ride? It's been one of you two. We have the same genetics, so it's been one of you two. Like
I haven't been partying at all.
All right. Whatever you say. Okay.
And I had a chili cheesesteak.
All right.
Pie are combined cheese.
Philly cheese. Not chili cheese.
All right. Get your silly little vaporizer. Oh, the mana. Dude, that's a colossal house. Hold on. What are you going to do with the basketball court? Are you going to keep that as a basketball court? Are you joking? Literally millions of options besides a basketball court, including like building a small house on it.
It's not a fucking basketball court, first of all. It's
Fucking
just a
what?
driveway with a basketball hoop. Second of all,
Yeah.
my dad's not going to get rid of the driveway. Third of all,
What are you gonna do
he
with the
has
gazebo?
thought about like the micro.
Yeah, the gazebo, dude.
Everywhere. Every time people walk by, they stare.
They stare at the house.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's big and it's under.
People look at the
colored.
property and they're like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it's like, what is going on there? Something big is in the works. That's what they're thinking.
I mean, not only that. So this whole second lot used to be fucking just shrubbed up. You know, you couldn't see
Yeah,
back
wow.
there.
Oh,
so
for
now you
real?
can actually see the
that's
whole,
crazy,
like the magnitude of everything,
wow.
and it's like, whoa.
That's insane.
Here you go.
Hold on. Thank you. That's insane. Are they like? Are these people who used to think of it as the way it was before, and now they're seeing it? They're like, damn, this shit is.
I'm sure some of them. Yeah.
And it's also just like very
or something that they just never noticed.
How are you gonna
know what
paint?
I mean?
Yeah. How are you gonna paint the outside?
Well, clean, white, like new white.
Yeah.
The White House.
How are you gonna deal with like? How are you gonna deal with like the degradation of like the mortar between the bricks?
That doesn't really happen.
That doesn't happen. Sometimes that happens. I learned about it. I learned about it from my
Sometimes
friend.
that happens, yes.
Yeah.
But like, that's already,
Yeah.
that's clearly been inspected, as our father is a fucking contractor.
Yeah.
That was a problem, he would know. Like, in fact, it's called pointing up. You gotta point up the bricks, that's what they say, like, and point up the mortar, and they did that to the back of the, when you first step out on.
You're just literally like randomly murdering insects, like unprovoked.
Fucking mosquitoes, and no, it's the opposite of unprovoked.
Okay.
It is very provoked.